Why does nobody believe in prospects? I think this is different. Okay, so you talked about some of the prices here in the labor draft. I'm going to pull up the board so people can see what we're talking about here. This is as good a time as any to kind of to show the screen from this draft. But prospects went a little later. If you look at exactly where they went in many of these leagues, Connor Griffin, I think that price changed like the next day. I think is when he had the 2 homers against the Red Sox. So would have gone up a little bit more, but you got him. Weatherholt and Griffin were in the 14th. McGonigal I got in the 21st. Carson Benj in the 22nd. Andrew Painter in the 23rd. I love that Painter price. I'm trying to go out and get Painter, but yeah, I get your point though. I just think this is like a sober room. It's not the NFBC. It's an industry wide league. I think. You look at, I bet you Connor Griffin starts to go up a little bit more. I also think that the recent experience with some of these prospects hasn't been as great. People forget Bobby was just 3 years ago, but people forget about that and they think more about Jordan Walker or Cam Smith.
Yeah, maybe. Connor Griffin in the last week since that's 2 homer game plus a day or 2 for take effect. So anyways, he's got a 136 ADP. So that's starting to be more interesting, But JJ Weatherholt, like I've read MLB.com, like pipeline articles where they talk about his odds of making the team, Cardinals articles with it. Everyone predicts that, 80%, 90% chance of making the team on opening day. His ADP is still 231. I feel like it's like really fair for one of baseball's best prospects who's supposed to make the team. Carson Benj, like Mets reporters are giving him like a decent chance to make the team. ADP is 307. McGonigal 273, same thing, like has a pretty good chance to make the team. Like, I don't know. I feel I don't know. We've become a lot more disciplined. Like Mason Wynn's ADP in the past week is higher than Kevin McGonigal.
Mm-hmm. Mason Wynn signed a contract extension. He's going to play every day.
Yeah.
McGonigal doesn't play good defense, and we don't know if he's going to make the team. So
For sure, I get it. But Mason Wynn also had 9 homers and 9 steals and hit 253 last year in 129 games. So like, I don't know. Like he's not very interesting. I don't know. I don't know. I just sometimes wonder. In some ways, sometimes I wonder if we get too smart and too conservative and things like that. I don't mind. I'm happy to. I've got an NFBC team rolling a slow draft right now where I took Weatherholt and I think the 14th and Benj in like the 21st. I'm not against cutting Carson Benj if I have to. I'll cut my 21st rounder. Maybe I keep him for a couple of weeks, see how things shake out. If I have to cut him, I have to cut him. But Weatherholt, I'm pretty optimistic will make the team. But I did take some time. There's an MLB.com article from in the last couple of weeks where they talked to the MLB pipeline guys, and they kind of both guys try to give percentage chances that various prospects will make their teams. I don't know. It's worth looking at. I used it a little bit to adjust the playing time for some of my guys because MLB.com articles are going to be. They're not going to go too far out on a limb. They're going to be kind of tied in for what they're hearing from the clubs because that's just not the format of that site because it's owned by the league. So they're not going to go against what the clubs are saying. And so some of the prospects like Weatherholt, like had really high odds of making the team. So I kind of took that to heart.
All right. Very good. Very good. You ask a little bit, are we overpaying for save sources in a bad closer market? The relief pitchers in rounds 10 to 13 are pretty questionable group in terms of skill and role, is your observation. So let's take a look at some of those that you're referring to. Griffin Jacks, Emilio Pagan in the 10th round. I call Dennis Santana as well. Jacks skill's not really a question. Role might be. Pagan, the opposite. Santana, I think, is fine. I'd rather not have to pay top 150 price, but I think as you lose options, it is what it is. Hader goes in the 11th in our draft. Trying to find the next. Sir Anthony Dominguez. Is this a Sir Anthony Dominguez question?
No. So yes, like Sir Anthony Dominguez in round 12. Yes. But also like Trevor McGill and Abner Uribe in round 12. Like that's a lot to pay for a guy who could get either one of those guys might get single digit save total. Who knows? They might both get 18, in which case they're not good round 12 picks. Like that felt like a lot. Dennis Santana does not have much track record to be a 10th round pick. Griffin Jack's, just some interesting things. I'm not going to say that Griffin Jack's a bad pitcher. He's not a bad pitcher. His ratios last year were a 4.23 ERA and a 1.29 WHIP. His career ERA is 4.04. Like this isn't like Brian Abreu. You know what I mean? Like he gets a lot of strikeouts, but as far as ratios goes, like this isn't someone who's just been rattling off like 1 year after another of say a 3.00 ERA and a 1.05 WHIP, and now all of a sudden he's got a chance of being a closer. He's had some good stretches for sure. 2024, he was really good, but he has been a little bit all over the place. I guess some of his stats are influenced by some time as a starter earlier in his career, but last season happened. He had no saves last year and all things. Anyways, yeah, I just felt like, I don't know. I don't feel great. I don't feel bad about Pagan in that range, but I don't know. Some of the other ones, and Pete Fairbanks in round 8, like he gets hurt a lot. I think on a 1-year deal, there's a really good chance the Marlins trade him at the deadline. And who knows at that point if he's a closer anymore. Kenley Jansen's like 50 years old and he was in round 9. And it's no shot at the individual owners that Carlos De Ceves was in round 9. I think he throws like 45 miles an hour now or something like that, if I heard from spring training. So it's no shot at the individuals who draft him. This is what the market is. There's like 10 closers that you feel good about. And then there's like 10 teams that don't even have any, like the A's and the Athletics, and the Nationals that have like no clue what they're doing. And you don't want to touch them really anyways, and the Angels and stuff. And then there's like this middle group of like 10 guys, and everybody I feel like is just like trying to grab onto the lifeboat and be like, Trevor McGill, I can squint. If I squint, I can see it, Robert Garcia in round 13. If I squint, I can see it. So I don't know. I'll be interested to see at the end of the year, how many of these pitchers from say around round 9 or so, 10 to 13, how many of them have say even 25 saves?
Yeah.
I feel like in that range, you still need 25 saves to make that pick worthwhile. Like if you make that pick, you get 15 saves. It was not a good pick.
Yeah. All right. I agree. I should agree. I didn't get a second closer in that range. So
me neither. Maybe that's why I'm whining, because I didn't get one either.
Yeah. So there you go. All right. Next issue. Let's talk a little bit about the second round. There was some things that jumped out a little bit there in terms of a little bit different than, your NFBC bubble, our NFBC bubble, as the case may be. Notably, Manny Machado goes in the second round. I thought that was interesting. Wyatt Langford goes in the second round of Tim McLeod. Both of those kind of jump out to me a little bit there. Kettle Marte actually in the middle of the second round of Ray Flowers also. So, but the thing is, Kettle Marte's not probably not making it back to 3.8. Wyatt Langford might make it back to 3.5. Manny Machado might make it back at the 3.4. But get your guy, and Scott Pianowski's team would kind of fit his theme of kind of old and boring and beautiful. They're reliable, stable geniuses.
Yeah, for sure. What this room decided collectively is to not draft pitchers in the second round. Like there were no pitchers taken in the second round. So they just, as a group, said, we'll just leave this next tier all the way to the third round. And then they all eventually came off the board. But you're right. Like the managers say from about the middle of the second round on, which is, I think, in the NFBC main event where we'll see Sanchez, Yamamoto, maybe Wu, maybe Logan Gilbert. We'll see some of them go. They just all said, no, I'll take a hitter. And then I think maybe collectively as a group, those managers were all like, hey, I don't really care exactly who I get from the pitchers. So I'm going to take one more hitter I like, and then I'll just take whoever's left. And then, someone grabbed Logan Gilbert, someone grabbed Hunter Brown. If you talk to them, they might have said, you know what, if they were gone and I took Chris Sale or Brian Wu, sure, whatever, I don't care. I'm just grabbing someone from that tier. So it's an interesting way to look at it. If you're like in the first half of the first round, is on the way back, grab the hitter you like, and then just you don't get to pick of the pitchers. You just get what's left in the third round. So I'm sure they'll all the pitchers in our labor draft that went in the third round. I would assume they'll pretty much just all be 10 spots earlier in the main event.
Yeah, we'll see. I haven't seen too much of that yet, but you're right. Main event is always something a little bit different.
Usually pitchers are pushed up. So I feel like, don't you feel like Sanchez, Yamamoto for sure second rounders in the main event ADP? And then, because then
Sanchez
they already are.
Is going ahead of Yamamoto now. Yeah, I think he does get there for the most part there. There might be the one token spare league, but yeah, you're probably right. Yamamoto probably also in the second round in most of these drafts.